everyone, welcome back to my Age of Empires 4 commentary. I am Beyond. As always, thank you so much for supporting the past couple videos and the channel as a whole. I truly do appreciate it. Today we have an absolute banger of a game for you. We have the kid playing in the green as the Chinese, and of course the kid is actually Valdemar. Would highly recommend checking out his channel on YouTube and on Twitch. Puts up some great guides and is a great streamer. Across the way we have Nor, aka coRe, playing as the English in the orange with the old golden bolt in the middle. coRe is also a great streamer, so would highly recommend go checking out his stream. Very chill, great music, great vibes all around. We see an early man-at-arms already making its way across the map just to get a little bit of harassment down on this gold vein over here, which looks like it will actually pan out pretty well because it's going to be a little bit delayed due to that village. So coRe should be able to get here in time to kind of stop and make it pretty annoying for Valdemar to actually get the required gold. These two, of course, are good friends. They always banter back and forth, so I'm sure this was a great game to watch on stream, / I'm sure they were dying of laughter in the chat if something good happens. Let's hope that we see that today. Now, this is going to be kind of annoying for Valdemar to deal with. This one little man-at-arms is going to cause a lot of a little nuisance here and there, and it's going to get there in perfect timing. As you can see, only 100 gold it is, and now we're starting to slice and dice our way through. This dude is putting in the work. Valdemar with the nice micro back and forth, trying their absolute best to get as much out of this as possible. This is some nice microing here from coRe as well, making sure he's defending this at all times, and has officially moved them off this gold, keeping it short so they won't be able to throw up their landmark as quickly as they would have liked. So coRe, with the investment of a barracks early on and that one man-at-arms, it pays out tremendously. It pays out in spades. Now, of course, the Chinese do not have to just rely on that gold vein to get everything they need. They have this dude right here rocking this unreal hat. They will be taxing the villagers until they get enough gold to actually age up. So while annoying, it's not the end of the world for a Chinese player. And, that's just something you have to look out for, but still very much so worth the investment from coRe's point of view. Now, if you have made it this far into the video and you have been enjoying, we absolutely smashed 1,000 subscribers. We're well past it now, but if you are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe. It really means a lot to me. More 2v2 is on the way. The next video will be a 2v2 game. I just like to mix it up as much as I possibly can, and also let me know if you guys want to see any of the Empire Wars replays. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to be casting any of it, but let me know if you guys would be interested in something like that, and I can make it work. Now, besides all of that pointless shoutouts, we can see that man-at-arms just took an absolute seed from this town center. Now, town centers in the Chinese have that bombard cannon, so they can cook a little bit when it comes to armored units. You saw that little black ball that ripped out. That is what makes them so good, and a little bit turtly. People do say they're a little bit turtly. Now let's get into the stats. I mean, also I will say the English are also pretty turtly, so we really can't be throwing stones in a glass house if you're a China player or you're an English player, either one. Back to the stats. The stats are saying that the English currently sit at a 44.5% win rate across 100 games in Conqueror and above on this current patch. So not looking the absolute best, but not looking the worst. A pretty small sample size. And across the entire ranking system, that is Conqueror and above, across the entire ranking system at about 5,200 games, English at a 51% win rate. Now, that's probably pretty skewed because the lower you go in the ranks, the lower the win rate of the Chinese goes, and that is because they are one of the harder civs to actually master and perform. China is all about, can you survive the early game? And if you don't survive the early game, and usually you play a lot of English and French down in the lower ranks, you're going to be in for a rough time. We see a archery range coming out for Valdemar and an early wall off to try to help protect this wood line, which is very susceptible to those English longbowmen, and we can see there's already 2 on the way, 2 in queue. It's a pretty classic kind of beastie style. We do have some deer going down, but the mill was not made just yet. So they're going to be collecting and then making, which, you love to see that efficiency at its finest. Now, beastie loves this this kind of order in the terms of just going for a few archers in the beginning. Actually, I thought it was just going for two. I just thought he was going for two, so ignore what I'm saying. I'm going to talk about absolute nonsense. But Beastie says go for one or go for two archers early on, sometimes three, and it really can make it so that you just cause a little bit of a reaction on your opponent's part. We can already see the archers coming out. This man-at-arms would love to have some backup from his archers, but he actually will be sacrificed to the greater good before he actually has a chance. And Valdemar's going to be able to actually finish this wall, which is going to be huge for him before the English longbowmen can get there, which is usually what these are susceptible to in terms of getting poke damage off on these villagers, is when they're making the walls. The English longbowmen with the scout can shoot up on over them and make their lives miserable. Now, the only downside to the English longbowmen is that they are slower than other range units. Now, if you go into here, you can see that they move at a whopping 1.12 tiles. And if you go over to Valdemar's little archer unit, you can see that they move at a whopping 1.25. So if you are playing against an English player, or if you're an English player, you should know this, that your longbowmen are significantly slower than other archers, which is why if you are forced to retreat, you will suffer heavy casualties as the English. That is one way that you can definitely outplay them. It's also why they suffer too early pressure from like the Tower of Victory Delhi, for instance. It's really hard to kind of retreat from a fight. So if you have to go all in against kind of yoked archers, which the Delhi have, obviously, in this case, we won't be seeing any Shuganu, but we've seen that Valdemar is really making a lot of archers to really protect himself. But Cor, actually, I was just going to say, I haven't seen too much out of him, which means we're going to be seeing a second TC. I've been seeing this build a bit more. I'm wondering if we're going to see it. I've seen it a few times on Cor on stream, but essentially what you do is you go 2 TCs, as the English, and you just get all your farms in the safety. You go White Tower, then you go Birk Shear. So we'll have to wait and see if Core decides to do that. If he goes for the abbreviation of one TC into a second TC, meaning the King's Palace. But you can really get to Imperial Age quite quickly, and all the raids these days, as we've all been dropping videos on it, including Drongo over there, but everyone is dropping fast imp strategies, so I would not be shocked to see the English also start to get some love in that category. I think it's just the one TC for now, though, so yep, it's going to be going right over here to protect that gold. I think he sees that gold could be an issue, especially with 13 archers on the map, and they are making their way over. They're not being shy about this in the slightest. They're two leaders, the two fearless horsemen up front. We have a scout seeing what's going on, seeing that Core doesn't have too much going on, but we'll be scouting this eventually. If only Core had those sweet Chinese villagers build speed, then this thing would already be up and cooking at this point, but that is not the case. Valdemar has not decided to go for any of this stone. It's finally going to be dropping the Barbican. I thought for a second it was a forward Barbican. I was about to lose my mind, but it is not. But this is still a unique timing push from a Chinese player that I don't think I've ever actually seen before. Archers that actually outmass the English archers, and they're going to be causing a little bit of pressure. Most of the time, if I can see why the English might not want to be moving out, but most of the time you really can't outmass the English archers, especially with that council hall. But Core deciding to go for that second TC is going to change the game for sure. Valdemar is actually not going to do any all in the slightest, so it's just to show a little bit of force, or maybe he's waiting for a few more horsemen so they can actually tank a second TC. Because while Valdemar didn't walk, he did walk up here, so he did see eventually. All you have to do is walk up and see this, and oh my god, they're back on the stone. We are going to be seeing the 3 TC into Birk Shear build, into White Tower build. Valdemar knows this, so maybe Valdemar's actually scouted this before as well, and that's why he decided to go for this weird little build in terms of going 14 archers. I don't think I've ever actually seen 14 Chinese archers. This is unbelievable. So we have a core boom build versus the kid going for not even standard. It's like a little bit of weirdness going on between the two players, but Valdemar does not want to walk in to that network of castles, boosted up English force over here, and coR does have just enough spearmen to deter those 4 horsemen, and you do not want to be diving English TCs anytime soon. Not going to be in your ideal situation. Now, Valdemar is trying to find a way in, but Hill and Dale is probably one of the best maps ever to do this on. If anyone wanted to trade, whatever they want to do, it's going to be easy peasy. Valdemar does already have his second TC up as well, which is why we see a pretty even number at the current moment. And we're going to be seeing this be dropped down quite soon. We can see that coR... Oh, did I not do this for you guys? Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to do that. I will make sure to fix that in the future. I usually do it actually all the time, and actually a little bit of delete into a town center up front. So coR is trying to feel nice and safe. We'll probably be walling these 2 off, and you can put the Birk Shear over here or put the White Tower and feel really, really good about Valdemar not getting anywhere near him in the slightest. Now this is gonna be a long game. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be a short game. Valdemar's already walling off this entire section over here. So one of the good things about if your opponent is booming like this and you kind of scout this out, just know that you can just take your time. Honestly, if there's no rush at all, you can just you can start to expand out into the map. Make sure you maybe start to collect some relics. Maybe go for a fast castle. Whatever you want to do, it's on the table. And it looks like coR, I thought for a second he was going to do that. I was like, there's no way he's going for even more stone. What are you going to do? Drop a 4th TC? That would be insane. So it actually does secure all of this wood over here, which is a really nice call for coR. Also a beautiful forest setup for the English. And is going to be securing this like this over here. So it's going to feel nice and safe. This another entry point is going to be sealed off. And coR is going to be hard chilling until Imperial. Now, pretty much what you have to do for this build order, even though you didn't see the exact breakdown of this, once you get that council hall, build just enough to defend yourself like coR did. Drop that second TC. You'll be in a good spot if they're within range of each other like this. And then on top of that, then you can start collecting for that 3rd TC and really start to cruise up in that villager count. Once you start to get to this point and you don't get punished too heavily, you'll be in a very, very good spot. You'll be seeing that you can, I'm assuming that coR's going to be going for mass men-at-arms, but the Chinese do have an answer to that. It's called Nest of Bees, baby. They make these really, really nice, and it looks like Valdemar is going to be the first one to Castle Age, but coR will be just behind. So coR is now dropping King's Palace. That is one of the greatest plays I've ever seen. That is 4 TCs from coR. I mean, what are we doing here, lads? Like, come on. Where were we seeing that this is going to go up much slower, even though it's 6 to 13. The astronomical clock tower will still go up a little bit faster, and they'll be hitting that Castle Age ding right this second. Boom. We got a boom over here, and then a Golden Age boom over here for coR. 21 now on the King's Palace, so really investing the time and effort into getting that up as quickly as possible. Valdemar's probably going to be in disbelief that there's a 4th TC on the map. What is he playing? The Abbasid? And he's going to be trying to scout over here, but it's going to be seen that this is completely walled off, and coR's going to feel safe and sound in his little bunker back here. Here comes the farm transition, which we expected nonetheless. And once you get this safe and sound up, and all of the English villagers kind of go up and start to build, then you can get those enclosures, and you can really start to cook with all those men-at-arms, because you're going to be producing a ton of food, a ton of gold. That's exactly what knights and men-at-arms need, and crossbowmen. So the English become super, super scary. That being said, you're also letting the Chinese player boom in the background, which is no one to be trifled with. The English, while very, very good in the late game, I still think suffer in the late game to someone like the Abbasid and like the Chinese. It looks like that guy was going to defend for a second and then thought better of it. So just going to add in a little wall off over here, which will definitely annoy Valdemar for sure. No one has any upgrades yet. Everyone's in castle, but everyone's feeling pretty confident with what they got. We see the palace guards are going to be the selection for Valdemar. Thinks that he needs to get involved in this and start to affect this food economy back here. And you can see the full transition is happening for coR as we speak. This is just a thing of beauty if you're an English player. And this will probably make your blood boil if you're anyone else. Let's go check over here to see if Valdemar is also starting his farm transition. I wouldn't be surprised if it was over here. the safety of back here. We'll have to wait and see what Valdemar decides to do. Now, we're just kind of moving out. No one's doing too much at all. It's just kind of everyone's kind of hunkered down, waiting it out. We have a nest of bees on the way. We have some crossbowmen coming out. We have palace guards. Nothing on the horizon for core. So it looks like we're going to be seeing the Birk Shear drop. I wouldn't be surprised if we see it right here to really protect himself from any shenanigans that could be going down. And look at that food income per minute. He's going to be getting up to that Imperial Age in absolutely no time. And he has 86 villagers at the 15-minute mark. He's going to be collecting for days. He has plenty of wood that's safe behind those walls. Actually would love to see some stone as well. Start to collect some stone and start to stone off these as well so he does not get raided by these palace guards, which could definitely cause him some issues. We already have 6 in the mix and 5 more are on the way. The nest of bees will slowly be rolling itself out as well. Where are you at? Little nest of bees, where do you go? If I was nest of bees, I would go. There's a farm transition for Valdemar too. Feeling very, very good right now. And now, of course, finally moving on a little bit. We do have just enough for the Birk Shear, so that will be dropped. The timing will be a little bit rough for Valdemar. The Birk Shear is actually going in the middle of the map. This could be a great play from core, or this could be a really bad play. If Valdemar is able to scout it with this force, it's going to be instantly canceled and pushed back. If core can push these back, but only has this very small force, so there's no way he can push it back, and Valdemar sees that, knows that he can just go in, sees the villagers. For whatever reason, these lads decide to say, you know what, I'll sacrifice it for the good of the country, no problem at all. Core quickly pulls 41 villagers to try to make this as quickly as possible, but is going to be losing some villagers. Honestly, not a huge deal. Definitely not a problem in the slightest, so he probably deserves to lose a few of these, and it'll actually probably be good for him in the long run because he already has 100 and he has 4 TCs. Valdemar is taking this opportunity to skirt past, but is going to be losing some casualties to this. But this is just a lot of English TCs back here, so it's going to be eventually going down if we can get it out, but it's going to cause a lot of idle time. This is so worth it for Valdemar. Now you can see the Birk Shear Palace is able to shoot from absolutely Narnia. Pretty much nothing's out of range at this point, and now every time they run into range, they're going to be cooked by 1,000 arrows and flaming nonetheless. And there we go. I just quickly, even though these bad boys are pretty armored, feeling pretty good about it. Now, core does have complete idle time at this point, 62 idle villagers, which is definitely not ideal in the slightest. Is going to be, that's his whole army's in there, so that doesn't matter. And as you can see, starts to produce men-at-arms. That is the move, that is the play at this point. And we're going to be seeing upgrades. There's the enclosures. And Valdemar's just doing a little bit of damage, getting a little bit of chip damage as we go. And now core is saying, all right, everyone go back. And Valdemar's going to say, thank you very much. I'm going to invade a few more times. And there we go. There's a few men-at-arms heading back there to deal with them. But they're going to be losing more and more villagers, which is definitely not ideal for core. But it just is what it is. He's just trying to shoot them down with the villagers in the actual farm transition. He has no units to actually deal with this. He only has 4 men-at-arms, and they don't even have upgrades yet. So Valdemar is getting so much value. He's already 14 villagers killed from this little raid over here. Trying to secure sacred sites, but there's no way Valdemar is going to let that happen. And has plenty. Where are these lads going? They are going to produce. They're going on this gold over here. And then on top of that, if they ever need more wood, there's plenty of wood over yonder. But they should be in a good spot. Look at all this production going down. This Birk Shear is just producing at non-stop clips. But Valdemar has a full farm transition as well. The Chinese are nothing to be messed with when they're eventually going to be going, there it is, Spirit of the Way is on the way. We're going to be seeing a Titans clash in the middle. Now all the upgrades are coming, Chat of Arms is on the way, and then we're going to be seeing the next upgrade for these men-at-arms. But if Valdemar gets enough crossbowmen, they're not going to be able to do much into this Chinese setup, plus this nest of bees is going to be a great help to just a cluster of units. But core is going to be having plenty of gold, is going to have to be dealing with this over here. But there's so many villagers that they're trying to take down men-at-arms with short bows, which is definitely not the move. And now they're going to be finally being pushed back. And there it is. There is the nest of bees. Going to want to pull that bad boy back, though, because these will eventually get taken down, because most of these are just archers, so that they won't be able to do much, especially once this upgrade comes into here, which is +2 ranged armor. You can see it will do even less damage. They are chasing down this nest of bees and trying to get us around on it, but I think it's going to make it back to the Barbican and safe and sound to a few of these villagers who are going to come and stop it. But actually Valdemar stops it there, realizes that it can't be done, and turns around on these men-at-arms, and it's an absolute slugfest to see what's going to be happening. Now coRe's going to be the one doing the old run by, because Valdemar is waiting on his upgrade for these palace guards, but is starting to get hand cannoneers, so they're going to shred through this men-at-arm cluster that coRe's going to be sending out across the map. So he's going to have to respond in some capacity. Now, more stone's going to be collected as well. We're going to be seeing some keeps thrown down, I'm sure. And coRe's just trying to find any sort of avenue to kind of do some damage. But as you can see, Valdemar has a full-on economy, making 2,000 per. coRe's making 3,500 food per minute. These two are just going to be, it's going to be a bloodbath today. And we have the full-on men-at-arms. 37 are out on the map. There's 16 on the map for elite palace guards, and they're being produced 8 at a time at this point. Hand cannoneers are on the way, now 12 at a time. 40 is the number for coRe. We see upgraded archers, which will be able to shred through these upgraded these hand cannoneers if they're getting range. We can see that Valdemar even is getting the late game tech elite army tactics coming in, has so many resources available to him. 16 more elite men-at-arms are on the way for coRe. So this is going to be a huge battle. It's been all waiting for 21 minutes. And here we go. Here's the first of a few. The golden hats are running in on the golden hats. We have some archers that are literally doing nothing in comparison to all of this. coRe has no range though, so it's not going to be a great trade at this point for either side. There's no siege either. Now the archers are on their way. They're slowly making it over here. They're going to be trying to take out these hand cannoneers, which is definitely going to be good value. You can see the golden helmets for the English longbowmen are finally making their way, and they take out one of the hand cannoneers. And coRe's going to be running essentially against a brick wall, but both sides just have it. They have these unbelievable tanky front lines, and they're going to be able to go as far as humanly possible. The Imperial Palace is on the way for the kid, and we're going to be trying the adjustment and trying to get up a little bit of that network castles up here so they can take down even faster. These archers are doing their best to take down these longbowmen in the back. Longbowmen are doing a great job at sniping these very, very valuable hand cannoneer units. There's only 4 on the map, and they keep going down to the arrow fire over here, but Valdemar is actually taking a very nice fight at this point. These Imperial Age Palace Guards are just crushing these chatted arms from the English. Nothing they can really do, and they've hit an overwhelming number. And now these archers are going to be able to do absolutely nothing into this. And Valdemar has all the upgrades you can possibly imagine. coRe is just getting +1 ranged armor, which is a little bit late in the game for such a thing, but is going to be maxed out on population. Has 143 villagers, so probably have to reduce those quite soon. This ranged army is only going to be good for taking out other ranged units. It won't be so good at taking down these sprinting men-at-arms who are in the Yan dynasty, which means these bad boys are quick. 1.58 tiles per. You can see the equivalent over here is 1.44. So these things are quick. They move like Jagger, and they're just moving in and crushing whatever's in front of them. coRe has built up a quite sizable longbowman army, but it doesn't really have much to actually kill. As you can see, nothing is really killed off over here. We can see a ram coming in, and some actual fire lancers might be the way to victory to go snipe some of the things. But I will say coRe is doing a nice job at raiding. This is a lot of damage over here. Maybe it's because it's not showing up as like a hit marker, but there's so many villagers going down. 15 already. I think this entire squad is going to be going down, and now coRe's getting every single upgrade in the book. but realizes that he has a lot less upgrades than coR, which is why he's losing these fights. And you can see how little damage these archers do to anything but other ranged units. They're trying, and there we go. The second coR sees the high value units. He instantly starts to peel them down. Even the crossbowman will be next once he looks back over, and then the archers will be the last on the priority. coR has 19 men-at-arms in queue, so definitely not super worried in the slightest about the production speed, but these fire lancers are going to be great into this. They're not as strong as they once were, but they're really, really good at sniping buildings. So if they get into this production line, it's going to be an absolute menace to deal with. And you can see that AoE damage is so nice. Boom, poking it down as we go. These fire lancers produce just a little bit of a kickback, you know? But they get quickly taken down because they don't have too much ranged armor. And once you walk into the English defensive area over here with this much production, it's going to be a rough time for you if you're unarmored going into that situation. We have 4 hand cannoneers as well for coR on the map, but he's going to want to protect those a little bit better, so might want to peel them back. These men-at-arms are providing a nice front line, and here comes the Rams. Ram Ranch is in full effect, and the Fire Lancers are also making their way on this backhand side. But coR is actually seeing that he's not going to be winning this fight, so he's going to be pulling back quite quickly. What is this upgrade we got going over here? Pyrogenics increase the range of hand cannoneers by 1.5. That could be really impactful as we start to see the hand cannoneer numbers really start to amass. They're going to be able to shoot from afar and really cut through this range mass. One nest of bees and this thing is donezo. But these fire lancers was a great transition from Valdemar. Really started to read his opponent and knew the exact win condition for coR. This build, while very, very good for the English, is very susceptible to kind of like a different sort of late game, right? Like he has plenty of materials, but he's invested so much into this man-at-arms kind of transition. He's not producing anything else at the current moment. coR with a nice surround over here to trap this ram, and actually does have a bombard, which did get buffed last patch. So, GG's. Does coR just realize he can't win? Oh, what an anticlimactic ending. I think coR just realized he just couldn't win, and he had so many longbowmen, and they weren't going to do anything into that composition. I will say he was destined to lose, but I wanted to see at least 1 or 2 more fights. But he was low on units. He was running them into their death constantly, so it does make sense as to why he gave the GGs. Well played by both players. If you guys did enjoy, please do leave a like and subscribe. It'd mean a lot to me, and hope you guys have a great night.